live.
He's still going. Oh,
My lungs are getting used to it, but dang, that is hard.
you're.
Anyways, welcome to the Throw in the Podcast,
Jeez.
where we also never fudge the rules, even though we wish we could.
We do all the time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Dude, what do you mean we don't fudge the rolls? We fudge every roll.
We fudge every roll.
You literally. Anyways, I am Club Kyle, and I am joined by the Master of Stabbing, Richard, and the other Master of Stabbing.
He got the title of Master of Stabbing.
And the other.
I don't. I'm the protector of nature.
I was about to say.
I'm the one that has that title.
I was gonna say, and the other Master of Stabbing, Alice.
Oh. There could only be one.
All right, Highlander.
I'm the guy in the chair. There could only be one.
Anyways, how are y'all doing?
I'm good.
Decent.
That's good. Well, today we are going to be doing a Q&A about Rasmira and Elaran in the Looming Shadows Subsidiary campaign.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a ride for all of us. There will not be questions about Garek yet, as I kind of want to do Chew Per just to keep things balanced.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, the way we're going to format this is if either you have a question for the other, we will throw it out, but otherwise I will be the main question giver.
Okay.
So I guess to start, Richard, you have been in this campaign since session 1, before we started streaming it. How much would you say Elaran's changed in that time?
Oh, he is. I will say, because you made a mention of it a while back, he is the definition of a fucking tsundere. He has really actually really like. Originally at the start, he was very untrusting of everyone. He never took off his face mask. He killed those who saw him without his face mask on. And then just over time, after meeting Garek, Mark, and then Rasmira and Korvac and everyone, like he really did open up, because he finally saw like someone he saw people that he could actually like trust. He never trusted anyone because everyone that he cared about betrayed him. So he's definitely made a lot of progress, like more progress than I honestly expected.
Okay, well, to be fair, in D&D, we never finish with the character we start with, and there's a lot of unexpected turns that come with that.
Exactly.
And speaking of which, Rasmira. How has Rasmira changed since she joined the campaign?
1 second.
Okay.
Alright,
well, Elaran, what would you say would be the biggest change what would be your biggest change in Elaran? Like, what is the biggest change you have seen in him? Like,
easy. He fell in love. He fell in love. He never loved anyone. Despite the fact that some of you think that his first mate was his love, she was not.
Hey, you don't doesn't have to be a love involved with wow chickle wow wow.
Oh God, no. He actually loves Sistine, and I feel like I can guess I can guess that Sistine loves him back from what I've seen. I know that Jacob really went kind of far with it, and I really like that he went that far with it.
Yeah. Well, again, like that does change a person, especially like in the long run, because you and Sistine did have a daughter.
Yeah.
Who
No, go ahead.
Who like is very young. Like she's still apparently she's still breastfeeding.
Yes. I can guess. I can guess there. She's 3, so I'd assume.
I assume as well.
But that's the biggest thing about Elaran. He's one of the big things about him was that he really opened up to people, but I think the biggest thing was that he actually fell in love.
Following on that, before we get to Alice, who I don't know if she's back or not. No, she's not. How did that change him? Like, you say he fell in love. Like, what aspects of that love changed him? Was it because he wanted to be a better person for Sistine? Was it a nice feeling in a void of just a lot of negative emotions? What was it? What really was it that changed that?
You know what? I feel like in that case, I feel like it's both. Like he finally found like this little spark of happiness in just his whole world. Because he like he's a for context, Elaran is while he's a wood elf and he's very young, he's 150 years old. He's lived 150 years of 155 now, but when he fell in love with Esteen. But he's had 150 years of nothing but just a terrible life, betrayal, keeping away keeping away from everyone, and then he finally meets this beautiful this beautiful person. It didn't really matter to him that she was the princess. It didn't really matter to him. He admired her leadership. He admired her beauty. He admired everything about her, and because especially with like her determination to do like some good, because that almost, while it doesn't seem like it, he actually saw a lot of himself in her,
Ah,
and that's kind of what made him like go towards her. And when he realized that he needed to be a better person for her, that was like the second thing. Like he a lot just falling in love with her in general. Like he wanted to be a better person for her, and he saw like this not an opportunity. My bad, I worded that wrong. He saw
okay.
like just this finally something good in his life.
Okay. And on that, Rasmira, you also have gone through a lot. She has gone through a lot of changes in the campaign. How would you describe those changes, like from when you joined until the current day, Alice?
With with how I wrote her character, I didn't expect for her to change so quickly. It was going to be a long time since she actually became as confident as you know her to be now. Um, but since the switch and the visit with Garek, she's gotten a lot better when it comes to um putting her foot down in the sense.
Yeah,
From when she started, I was really just hoping that she would stay as a background character, not even one of the main characters. She'd just be like a supporting character. But that didn't seem to be the case.
Nope.
well,
That
again,
really didn't seem to be
same
the
thing
case.
with the same thing with Elaran. We never we always have an idea of where our characters are going to end up, and then they end up completely different.
Yeah.
Uh, like I didn't expect Garek to end up the way he is now, for example, like at all. And but like that just happens because like things happen that you don't expect. What would you say? Going into Rasmira's character a little bit more. Why did she go Oath of Devotion Paladin during the 5 years?
Oath of Devotion. It's because of her protective nature. Um, Originally, before she was split into multiple parts, she used to be the god of order and protection. And now that that's kind of not there, she still has a sense of feeling of it, and she feels that it's her duty. And not only that, she was raised to be a fighter, and her philosophy is that she protects even the weak. She protects everybody. Nobody should be left behind.
Ah, okay.
So Path of Devotion has all those qualities in it.
Hmm.
It's part of the oath.
Yeah.
So she was like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
And going on this is a question for both of you. We're going to start with Richard. I think I know the answer to this because you just confirmed it earlier, but what NPC really had, what character in the game had the most impact on Elaran overall?
No, Esteen. That,
I
I
know,
know I
I
gotta
know. I
answer it,
just
but
wanted
yeah.
to confirm it.
Yeah, it was Esteen.
And you've already given your reasons. What about you, Rasmiro? Which character has given the most impact to your character? Maybe it doesn't have to be modern. It could be backstory related, but in Rasmira's whole life, who has had the biggest impact in it, for lack
The
of a better?
biggest impact?
Yeah.
Oof, there's a lot of people.
It doesn't have to be good. It's just whoever has the biggest impact.
I know there's a lot of people that are equal on that playing field.
I'm sure.
I would have to say, honestly, I think that would actually have to be her parents.
I had a feeling. How
That would
does
actually have to be her parents because it was basically like good parent, bad parent.
which I was gonna say, assuming you don't want to go into spoilers, like maybe you want to save for session, what was Rasmira's relationship to her mother and to her father? Like we have an idea of what the relationship between her and her father is, but what about her and her
Um,
mother?
uh, you have a basic idea of how her and her dad's is. There's very there's not a lot of communication between the two. That's why it's such a strenuous relationship. As for the mom has always been there for her. She was always there to comfort her, and since she moved out of where they lived, she still comes back just to visit her mom and her brother. And her mom is literally the one that has prevented her from offing herself because she has been to points where she just wanted to off herself, but her mom prevented her from doing that.
Which
So did Korvac.
which is a very very dark thing to happen in this setting. But assuming you're comfortable with this, and you do not have to answer, like, what were some of the reasons why she thought that? I guess would be the thing.
First off, she never felt like she belonged in this world anyway. It's because of her nature, her very being and how it is. Remember, she doesn't even know her origin point.
Mm-hmm.
She just knows that she was found and she was adopted into this family of dragons. So that's one. Second of all is just the training with Oramus and how cold he was to her. Every time she would fail, he would be genuinely disappointed and belittling her to the sense, since you know how he is.
Oh
He
yeah.
literally he he will
There's
offend everybody.
yeah. There's a reason why when I found out he survived, I was like, yay.
We were like, oh
Yay!
yay. So her being she wanted to be a fighter. She wanted to dedicate herself. She wanted to fight for what is right, and her dad telling her that she's literally the worst person ever to be doing this during training kind of just says, then what the fuck should I do? I really want to do this. This is what I want to do. And you're telling me I suck at it.
Yeah.
And this is in her younger years. Not when you guys met her, she was about 26,
And she was still a nervous wreck, from what I
and she's
remember.
still a nervous wreck. She's she was a lot better
She's a lot
compared to
better.
her younger years.
But when we first met Rasmira, she was still bad. Like, I remember like she was this shy person who really didn't want to put her neck out there, and also was very insecure. The same way that Elaran, I remember at the beginning, was this mistrusting person who just wouldn't let anyone in.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think the perfect scene to really put a pin on it was when Elarin actually came up to them, and she actually told him to back off. That just shows how uncomfortable she was. She was literally out of her element. She didn't want to come down here in the first place, but she did because of her brother.
Yeah.
She was
I
literally
mean,
there only for her brother.
to be fair in that regard, I would kind of say back off if a masked hooded figure just comes up right in your face. So
Yeah.
it's a little on
If
me.
you actually came a bit closer, she would have almost drawn her sword on you. But since she was in
Yeah,
the presence of the
which
queen, she
yeah,
wouldn't do that.
yeah, and all the other generals. Mm,
Yeah, she wouldn't do that.
yeah,
But she
which
was very close to doing so.
it really is amazing how far those characters have come. But to veer off the topic of this and to change things just a little bit, we
The
had a
angst.
5 year tips time skip in the campaign. We saw some of that in the one off we did. Would you guys care to go into more detail about what your characters were kind of going through, what they were thinking during those 5 years?
I can start. So like I said at the start of what was it, 2 sessions ago when Jacob actually just talked about the time skip.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Elaran had realized that in all of his fights, and he still kind of does, but he's trying to avoid it now, which is why he did a lot of intense training under Steen, which he viewed as hell. Um,
You want to train under Ormus?
No. I said which he viewed as hell, but he's never seen how your dad trained Rasmira. Um, but he did that because he felt almost very useless in battles, like especially when his fight against Xander, because he almost died. He was like he almost died. He got knocked. It's the first time he ever got knocked unconscious in battle, and it
Save your ass.
kind of well, yeah, you saved my ass. It kind of put like a perspective on things because he kind of realized that he's not nearly as strong enough as he should be when it comes to fighting. Like the only reason that he probably didn't die against that fight with Talrik was because he became a fucking young gold dragon. But that's besides the point. He he felt very useless, and he wanted to change that. So during that time, he did a lot of strenuous training with Esteen, and that's why he multi-classed as a fighter because he wanted to get mainly for the purpose of getting stronger and to help out more.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good mindset to have, I think. Whether it's correct or not is in the eye of the beholder, but it is definitely an understandable mindset. And now, what about Rasmira? Because I think personally, she had one of the more, like one of the more grander developments. Because again, she changed like a lot of her levels turned into Oath of Devotion Paladin, and the oath
Holy
itself
crap.
is a massive thing. So like, what's kind of Rasmira's mindset like in those 5 years?
In those 5 years, when the dust settled and everything's quote unquote being rebuilt. Well, actually, it is
It really is
rebuilt and
it's being
going back to quote unquote normal. Um, she did her best to help her brother, um, settle the North since they actually needed him for diplomatic reasons, especially with the dwarves. So she was kind of there as backup, and then after that, she didn't know what to really do. Um, she, because of the recent news of what Garek has told her, especially about the dreams and all that, when she actually openly told him about that, she kind of was like, "Who really am I? What am I? Do I really? I don't think I belong here anymore. I never felt like I did, but now now for sure I don't." And I can't go anywhere. I'm stuck here.
something that Garrick is kind of feeling now.
Yeah, now he gets to feel it too. Um, so to because this is her home, she considers this her home. A home is what the person makes it to be, and she wanted to make Sidria her home, and she wanted to take that a step further. She wanted to devote herself to it. She didn't want to be like, oh hey, I'm just a normal human being a guard. She's like, no, I am going to defend this land with my life and anything and all the power that I could muster. And that's why she took Oath of Devotion.
Yep, that is.
And she's also to learn her spells. She's actually looking to Korvac for that.
Which I think is a really good thing because like it just helps build the sibling love there.
Yeah, and she does have her cantrips, which is not normal to paladins. The reason why I did this was because of her, her history of being a god. So basically, what I did is that I took a feat, the Magic Initiate feat, and I picked Sorcerer in particular because of that. It was for flavor and for good spells.
Yeah, sorcerers do have good spells.
Paladin sorcerer.
I was gonna say, as a guy who plays
Well,
sorcerer,
technically, I'm a paladin sorcerer fighter.
yeah, right. As a guy who does,
I mean, to be fair, aren't paladins like a mix between cleric and fighters already? So
They are, but now I actually can crit at 19. That's why I kept fighter.
that's pretty useful.
And then I also have the sword of sharpness, so
Yep, which is
Oh
really
yeah.
good. Yeah, which makes sense for Rasmir's character. After all, like with everything she's gone through, that makes sense. in the campaign, we have all experienced many events, like horrible and good events. Like we had our highs and we had our lows.
Mhm.
Both of you, what have been some of your characters like? What's been your character's greatest high? I think I know this for Rich again, Astine, and
Yeah.
what has been some of your greatest, like your lowest lows from what we've seen? Like, if you don't want to spoil backstory
Okay.
stuff, then don't.
Yeah, that's more of a backstory thing for Elaran.
Well, we already know his backstory. He was betrayed.
Well, yeah, but there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, which if you don't want to spoil it, then don't. I'm not gonna force you, but your answer would be that series of events then in your backstory.
Yes. Yeah, it's a series of events that happen in his backstory. You'll have figure it out you'll figure a little more of it out eventually. Just right now I don't want to spoil nothing.
Fair enough. What about you, Alice? What's been some of Rasmira's highest highs, and what's been some of her lowest lows?
Honestly, I think when it comes to her best self, it was when she actually had the ability to feel emotion. That that is something that has changed her in such a way that it makes it a lot easier for not only me but her herself to develop. Because how is one supposed to develop without emotion?
I would say you could figure out like the substitute. Like there are characters without emotion in media who developed pretty good. Like a good example of this is Data from Star Trek. He was a really developed character and he could not feel emotion. It came from
Yeah.
the struggles of his character as well as some of the choices he had to make outside of the realm of emotion.
Yeah, but it's I can't really explain this.
Mhm.
But it's just the notion of feeling different things. It's new to her, and it that's kind of the best thing ever. She never smiled until she got an edge.
Yep. There. Well, oh fuck. All right, my Discord disconnected. 1 second. Oh fuck. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. Apologies. We apologize for technical difficulties. Oh boy. Shit. Stream's still going. Let's see if Wi-Fi's still working because I could just. Okay. Okay, so that's still working. Okay. Okay. We apologize, folks. Yeah, okay, so I think the server might be down, according to this, according to my phone. 1 second as we try and resolve this issue. Okay, I cannot enter chat. Okay, it might be working on my phone. Okay, yeah, we apologize. I might have to restart Discord, so bear with us as we go through these technical difficulties. We are going to Control Alt Delete this.
There he is.
Oh,
hey,
I'm back. Never mind.
he's back.
Well,
That was
Welcome
mega
back.
oof for a
my
second.
Discord disconnected. I am so sorry. The last thing I heard was Inej.
Well, yeah. When she met Inej after retaining her her empathy, she's never smiled before, and now she has a constant smile because of Inej.
Which is
And
great.
it's still
It's cute.
it's still so weird for her.
Yeah, that is. Pets are a wonderful thing. They really do bring joy.
Oh yeah, and Inej really.
That, bro.
Elaran, get a pet. We all have pets. Get a pet.
We all have
I have
pets.
a daughter. That's better.
Your daughter's
But,
a pet.
like, your daughter's a pet.
No, I have a daughter. That's better than a pet.
Yeah.
Well, honestly,
No.
Korvac doesn't have a pet either.
Yeah. 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 Uh, but yeah, which I think was a good moment for Rasmira, just because like it happened immediately after she did get back her empathy, and that was like the first thing, major thing to happen, which was a good thing to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Her lowest low, I would have to say, was her younger years.
Mm-hmm. Which we
That makes
understand.
sense.
It's understandable because
Yeah.
in every sense of life, parents, whether they're there or not, influence a child's life.
Mhm.
Even when they're not there, that does influence their child.
Yeah. Because even then, when she was lost, for the first couple of years at during the 5 year interval, she didn't want to off herself. She was like, "I want to stay here,
Well, I mean, I don't
but
think
I don't know, but I don't really belong here. But I like it here."
Garek, Elaran, all of them would not have let you if you had tried. To be fair,
To
Probably
be
not.
fair, yeah. But she wasn't. She wasn't about to do that.
yeah. Uh,
But yeah, her lowest would be her younger years.
yep. And now, do you have questions for each other? I think I should open the floor to that because this is like all Q&A. So,
Okay. Uh, what prompted you to get a pet, Rasmira? What kind
What
of?
prompted me to get a pet?
Yeah, you kind of, because I think you kind of just like Rasmira wants to go get a pet, and I was like, how come?
Well, not. It wasn't. It wasn't really Rasmira wanting to get a pet. It was just me saying, she would benefit of having a pet.
Okay.
What really set me on what really had me fixed on this was my own struggle. I'm struggling from a lot of anxiety and major depressive disorder, and um my babies, my leopard geckos, are my emotional support animals. And honestly, they're such a wonderful addition to my little family going on over here that it they bring me joy. They really bring me joy. Every time I'm at work, I always think about them. It's like, how are they doing right now? Mostly it's just me thinking about Freya being a nosy little punk, and then Bella being in her little corner, and then Gigi judging everybody who comes into my brother's bedroom. So, um, having
don't know.
especially when the pet has been trained and all that, and Prismira has had the time to train in Edge, and since she got her at a couple months old, that was the perfect time to actually start training. Um, as for that, she was still very nervous. She was still adapting to her newfound empathy, and Inej was just helping her cope with that.
Mm, that's
So
fair.
it's just a positive energy that it bettered her instead of worsening her, which is what I was aiming for. So basically, Inej is kind of like her own little emotional support animal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
It
we got.
wasn't it wasn't just an out of the blue thing. I was thinking about this for weeks before I actually was like, I think she should get a pet.
Okay, we have a comment on our thing that says grape juice from Oh No 201. Oh, and we just got a question for Jacob. Jacob
I.
asked uh,
Oof.
if there was anything you guys could change about your characters, what would it be?
Garek.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious. What about you, Elaran?
Mm, his time on the ship.
That's fair. Uh, I assume those two things are like your guys' biggest like regrets, and
Yeah,
I am
that was
hesitant
one.
to
That was
say
part of his
life.
downfall.
I'm hesitant to say life of Rasmir because of the
No,
ambiguity
no,
of
no.
it.
No, no, no. Her character was supposed to be that way. That's literally how I've had her written. It's just Gorik. I have an issue with Gorik.
Yeah.
Gorik, as I have time on the show. What? It's more like
I don't
how
know.
Gorik's personality is to me. It didn't kind of fit well. because I wanted this to be a little more serious than it is, but Garek turned out to be a comic relief. And I'm here like, it makes me and my character feel like a joke.
Could I offer my perspective on this?
Hmm.
Okay.
I think it actually can add a lot more. For me personally, I feel like because these guys are so grand and powerful, they treat like a joke, it makes your struggle all the more real because you have to prove to a lot of people, like to them, it's not a joke. This shit is serious. Like, I don't care if you are gods, you've lost touch of what really matters.
I guess that's true.
Like, that's how I view it. That's not how you have to view it. It's just like more like if 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 Garek's life turned out to be like just the punchline of a cruel joke, he would be depressed for a while, but then he would be like, he would be basically, okay, I'm going to prove that I'm not a joke.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Korvac is a good example for that too, because
Yeah.
he's the only sibling that now doesn't have wings, because Rasmira has wings and she's the adopted.
Yeah.
She's adopted.
Which works, because again, like, if we're the punchline, then we better make sure the punchline's thrown at them and not at us. But that's how I view it. Now, um, yeah. What about Ella? You say the time on the ship. What specifically about the time on as a pirate do you wish could be changed from Elaran's perspective?
I won't spoil a lot, but I will say this: he did a lot of unnecessary killing. He
Okay.
he uh, he regrets a lot of it.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah,
he regrets being what he was. Like he wishes he could go back and
yeah.
change it.
Yeah, like he wishes that he could go back and change everything. He had been trying with like so one thing I
Sorry,
will
got
say
sneak attacked.
while on his time on the ship, this is the reason that he was kind of betrayed by his crew was because he was trying to change it. He was trying to make it better. They'd still, they'd be plundering thieves, but they wouldn't just go around like just doing a lot of unnecessary killing. Like that's the big thing about it. Like he didn't like that. And it like when he tried to make things change cuz he was the captain, he they staged a mutiny and they threw him overboard.
Yeah. The reason why I asked it that way is because Elaran could have wanted to stay a pirate. He could have
Oh yeah,
easily.
absolutely could have.
Yeah. So I'm asking, do you regret the mutiny or do you regret the act as a whole?
He regrets the act as a whole.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, I'll answer this for Garek as well because I was going to do part of this as a Q&A for Garek. Garek, from his perspective, he would probably want to change. Well, right now, he would really want to change like everything bothering him as much as it is. Like he would want to change not the good emotion parts. He wants to change. Oh, I wish like I wish my parents were good people. I wish that this all didn't happen. Like he kind of wishes that he wasn't. In a sense, he kind of wishes that the whole thing behind his back. Excuse me. The whole like reason why he is the way he is, his evil parents, were actually just like decent people, and like he wasn't, and like the fight with Talric didn't bother him. That like the aftermath of it, him dying, he wished it didn't bother him. Like that's something he wishes like he could just like let go of, but he can't.
I mean, if I was facing the fact that I died and then I was brought back, I would be like, why the fuck am I still alive?
It's it's kind of like that. For Garrick, it's more like I did all I could. I died, and there's still more to do, and I get that, but I died. and that's not something I can just get over so easily.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I mean,
on
the
top of that, he just found out
aspect of death is hard to deal with anyway.
exactly. And then on top of that, he's now dealing kind of with what Rasmira is dealing on a lesser scale. His mother is not of this world.
Yeah, on a way lesser scale because she's literally not from anywhere.
Exactly. On a way lesser scale, but it's all the same. It still affects him because he doesn't feel like he belongs now, in a sense. Even though he fought for the damn place and he died for the damn place.
Yep. I mean, that's perfectly understandable. He's going through a crisis right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to have to.
He has to adapt, and he's not letting it halt him. It's just he's not dealing with it in the healthiest way either.
Nah.
But in any event, that's that question. Yeah. Who? In terms of the campaign, what NPC do your characters hate the most? To get a new question, like what NPC do your characters just utterly despise from the events we have seen?
Oramus.
Aside from Oramus. We all know that's too easy of an answer. And we all know Maria.
Well, yeah, that's.
I want to know
okay, so
in terms of like what. Oh, Jacob, we've asked that question already. But yeah. Like,
no, do you like how your characters develop? Yeah, I
okay,
have.
fair
Actually.
enough.
I like how it's developed.
Yep.
The one we hate the most?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Because there have been a lot of despicable NPCs, like in the majority of Jacob's campaign, and for the brief time you were in my campaign.
You know what? That actually brings it up. I will say, in the brief time we knew him, Spirit of Talric was definitely one, but he's a pure evil being, so that makes sense. An NPC that Elaran didn't like the most besides Maria, that had to be Nadir when we encountered him.
That's
my character hated Nadir.
Oh, that is fair. Nadir is a psychopath.
He was a world-class motherfucker.
He was a psychopath.
Oh, yeah.
And like he's basically a child who is never told no, and unfortunately, if you do tell him no, he just grows right back, or rather, he did.
He did.
Yeah, I would say that poor fucker, but he's a literal serial. He is like the worst.
He's a literal serial killer.
He's the worst. He's just the worst. I don't feel any sympathy for him.
Literally, it's really hard to crawl under Rasmira's skin, and he managed to do so.
Yeah.
And that's what makes her hate him so much.
Yep. And
same thing with Isabel. Isabel crawled under her skin.
But she's a PC. So
she's a PC.
And also, she can still develop. She's not like a awful person. She's just a chaotic person.
Yeah, but again, it's really hard to get under Rasmira's skin.
Yep. But with that, I would like to ask. I would like to turn the tables now. Do you have any questions for Garek?
Sure. I got one. How long were you planning? This is fairly new, at least to my knowledge. How long were you planning this whole thing between Garek and Rasmira?
Well, that would be a question for me and Alice too, because it takes two to
tango.
tango.
Oh, so you both were planning it. So this is a question for both of you. How long were you guys planning this?
Alice, I believe it was you who brought it up originally, if I'm correct.
I might have. I didn't really plan for this.
Neither did
I brought up the idea.
You brought up the idea.
Because I saw chemistry between the two.
Yeah. So what happened was one day Alice was messaging me like, hey, and I can't remember what prompted this. She was like, Rasmira, and Garek have good chemistry. And I was like, huh. And then I was like, thinking logically, I was like, if I'm going to be honest, Garek and Sasha rushed into things. And we
both can agree on that. If I actually started from day one with you guys, it wouldn't be Garek and Sasha. It would be Garek and Rasmira.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, because if you had started on day one, we both could agree that Garek and Rasmira would have ended up in a relationship together because, like, they really do help each other a lot. Like, Garek helps Rasmira out with her stuff, and recently, especially, Rasmira's now helping Garek out with his shit.
Yeah.
Like, they've kind of, in my eyes, they've kind of started a really good friendship, and I think, like, the natural evolution of it would have been a romance. Garek started to become attracted to Rasmira after the sequence in the cave in the one-off. That's really when it started for him. And then, like, he realized maybe I was always attracted to her. But that's when he realized it. So he's been dealing with this for roughly a year now.
Aw. Poor
And,
Gare Bear.
yeah, so... Yeah.
Poor Gare Bear.
Yeah.
We are
And-
never gonna let you see the end of that.
We're never gonna let you down.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Anyways, so Garek is kind of like... At the same time, though, Garek is super scared of it because he already screwed up once with Satra because he rushed into things. So he was really confident with Satra. Like, he knew what to say, he knew what to do. Here it's like, I don't want to lose this opportunity, but at the same time, my fears are kind of preventing me from taking this opportunity. And, like, that's assuming she likes him back, because from Garek's perspective, he doesn't know if she does or doesn't.
She just seems so neutral about everything.
Well,
It's hard to tell.
It's really hard to tell, especially from an outside.
One thing you wish you could.
We'll wait for Jacob to edit that message, but yeah, so
Yeah.
I planned
Edit
this.
that message, Jacob.
I didn't plan this, technically. It's
We-
just... It's a
Technically, we didn't plan this.
Yeah.
I just pointed out the obvious.
and then I went along with it.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess what he was trying to say was if there was, he's probably asking me and Snow this. If there is one thing you wish you could see Garek do, what would that be?
I think I'll wait for him to... honestly, let go of his fear for, like, just a second, just to... he's typing, so I'm gonna
One
wait.
thing,
Probably.
he already edited it.
He edited it, but... anxiety's a bitch.
Bitch when
Sorry,
typing.
Jacob. But,
I feel that.
but one thing Garek wishes he could... Like, if there's one thing, like, Garek really wants to do, it's let down his guard and honestly just tell Rasmira how he honestly feels.
No.
Well, that's a question for all three.
It's-
Yeah, I'm kind of in that same boat. I would like to see where this, like I said, like Elaran said when he figured out the thing with Garek and Rasmira, is what he said to him, which was, I really want to see where this goes. And I'm kind of that, like, I was saying that for Elaran as well as myself. I want to see where this goes. Like,
Yep. What about you, Alice? Assuming he's talking about Garek for all three, what would you want Garek to...
Yeah.
What would you wish you could see Garek
Can
do?
this be a question for past events?
Sure.
I really wanted to see Garek kind of share the weight. I know he was very scared of sharing the weight after, the issue that happened with Marks.
Yeah, that's kind
But
of...
us as the party, we were encouraging him to share the weight. 'cause
And
It's really unhealthy for
It
one
was.
person to carry such a burden. And it has taken its toll, as we see now.
it really has, and, like, that's the thing. You nailed it right on the head. Garek blames himself for what happened to Marks. Now, it's debatable if that's true or not, but Garek was like, I was in charge, and one of my best friends basically got himself lost. And even when we saved him, he wasn't fully there. Garek didn't want that to happen to anyone else. That's why he wanted to wield... that's why he was so adamant about wielding Honoreth. Because he didn't want anyone else to die, or worse, under his watch.
And I mean, that is understandable, but
It
you
took
have
its
to
toll.
have limits. He literally put the weight of the world on his shoulders,
Yeah.
and we were there to support him.
But
It would have been an easier, it would have been a
Totally
lighter
would've been.
toll.
if I honestly, if Garek had let you in, and this wasn't a I want to be the main character thing from a meta perspective. No, this was a he's already seen something bad happen. He just doesn't want to happen again, but in the process, it cost him a lot. Like, his mental health is not the greatest now, and he's dealing with the PTSD of his choices. He died.
As we saw with the party.
Yeah. He like, anytime someone mentions that to him, he goes breathing heavy. He's like, I don't want to remember this. I want to forget, but at the same time, it happened, and I have to deal with it, but it's a hard memory. Honestly, Garek would have died happy if no one else did die in that event, but he lived, and he's grateful for that because he gets to see his kids grow up. He gets to guide his kids. He gets to spend time with all of you. He has... But it did take its toll, unfortunately. And now Garek is...
It really did.
It really did, and now Garek has to deal with the aftermath of that.
Yep.
Like, I agree with you from that perspective. He really should have shared the way of the world. But he was unwilling because he already saw someone fall from grace, and he didn't want that to happen again.
I think even Rasmira pointed that out, and she was still the nervous wreck that she was, and she was telling Garek, maybe share the weight. It might be better. It might be better for you.
It really would have been, but he didn't.
And he didn't, because he's a dumbass. Oops.
Oh, he is a dumbass. Like, in that regard, he was a dumbass.
He's a dumbass.
He was a dumbass in that regard, but his motivations were clean.
His motivations were just, but
The end
Jesus
result
Christ.
wasn't. The end result wasn't. And yeah. So I guess that answers that. Jacob has one last question.
More questions.
No, I love answering questions about my character.
I love questions.
So do I. I like bread.
I like bread.
I like bread.
Fucking critical role. I like bread. I like bread. I'll be honest, that's one of my favorite. I'm like, they have a lot of good bits. That's just one of my, like, it's so ingeniously
It's just
dumb.
a little dumb bit.
It's dumb. It's
dumb, but it's
dumb.
great.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like, I'll be honest, yeah, but yeah.
It's like Ford saying it's all wild, mother it up in here.
Okay, this is a multi-part. So, in the meantime, do any of you have questions you can ask me while we wait?
Well, I actually have a question for Richard because I'm genuinely curious.
What's up?
How did Elaran overcome his fear of heights?
That's actually
through Esteen's training.
Oh, I get it. She was like, "I'm going to make you fear something else." Me. Same way.
Yep. Actually, it was more a matter of multiple times a day did she fly Elaran up really high on a griffin, push him off, and then catch him before he hit the ground.
I like to imagine you're just being held to the griffin's claw, like, and she's just like kind of smoking a cigarette above, like, this is life.
It's literally like how.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna say that's how she did it.
Oh my god. I can see Elaran literally clinging on to the griffin's claw like a scared cat.
If his hair wasn't white before, if his hair wasn't already white, it would have turned white from that.
I think it would be transparent at this point.
Bowed,
it just falls off.
Bowed, my eyes.
But he still loves her all the same.
Yeah.
Because it's better him in the long run.
Plus, she does push you to, like, go through with that.
Pretty much.
Like, in my opinion, I think a good relationship is where two people better each other. Okay, and here it is.
Well, Holding the Weight of the World in the second chapter.
Well,
I know that I will. That's that's something that I'm gonna do. Actually, I'll give you a heads up. Probably gonna be close to the next time we have downtime when we come back from this island.
Assuming we come back.
Assuming we do. Assuming we come back.
But anyways, for everyone watching, because you can't remember that, the first question from Jacob is: will Elaran and Rasmira speak to Garek about holding the weight of the world in the second chapter?
Already answered yes.
Yeah. How about you, Alice?
I would say yes, but it would be more of a private conversation. It's like, why are you really gonna do this again? Don't do this again.
Yeah, which leads perfectly into the second question. When Garek faces his father, Alex, will he share the weight of the world on his shoulder this time around? It's really okay.
He
I
fucking better.
Okay, so let me answer this, because, like, that's a complicated question for Garek. In theory, if you guys had to talk with him, he would try. In reality, it's not his father who he fears the most. It's his mother. His mother is truly the mastermind here, and Nami confirmed that. And honestly, if she threatened you guys in any way, if one of you went down, if one of you got super hurt, he would make the same mistake all over again out of a greater fear. Unless, now, it's possible he won't. But the way Garek is now, Garek is honestly afraid of his mother. He hates her. He hates his father. He's a little afraid of his father. It's healthy here. Garek is straight up afraid of his mother because he knows that she is the true power here. Even though his father is a god, he knows who holds the strings on him. I've always flavored that Garek is smart because his mother was around. So he knows exactly the threat she is.
He got that from his mom.
Yeah. So he knows exactly the threat he is facing with her. His father, he would share it. His mother, he is the most afraid of. So unless you guys talk to him, he would definitely make the same mistake all over again.
I mean, I was planning on talking to him about that anyway.
I know, but that just cemented it, right?
Yeah, that just cemented it. It's like, now this really has to happen.
It really does, because Garek is controlled by his fears. His fear...
Just like every other person on this dang planet.
Oh, it is. Definitely, but again, like, his mother was never advertly cruel to him. His father was the really cruel one. His teacher, Genova, she was relatively nice, but Garek resents her for, hypocrisy. Basically, hey, you seem like this nice person. Why the hell are you serving these evil bastards? I might die, but at least I died knowing what I fought for. His mother was diabolical when he was a child. To go into this a little bit, I'm not going to say too much. She knew exactly what strings to pull to get what she wanted. She never had to do anything herself because she was cunning enough to get others to do it for her, or cunning enough to avoid a catastrophe altogether. It says something when someone less powerful than you controls you, because that's the situation in there. His mother controls his father. And that's why Garek is the most afraid of her. And that's why... Oh, and Jacob has another one. And that's why Garek would probably do that, like, to avoid you guys facing. Yeah, Jacob, that's alright.
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Yep. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Do you two have any questions while we wait for him?
I think you pretty much answered every question that
A lot of
I had
questions.
regarding Garek. There wasn't
Question
really...
generator.exe has stopped working.
What's his favorite color?
Well, clearly white, man. You changed your hair color to white.
That was a flavor thing because I died. Honestly,
yeah, I know.
That's Alec. That is the player's favorite hair color because of Dante from Devil May Cry.
It's funny. I'm surprised that you guys didn't ask anything regarding like what prompted you to like want Elaran to have white hair, why you wanted to be a
he was an albino or something, right?
Well, yeah, but it's funny because you never asked about that.
I figured that was spoilers, honestly.
If he's an albino, why does he not have red eyes?
Yeah, that's actually
because he's an elf.
Yeah,
that doesn't matter.
He's an elf. He is a little bit different from he has like the elven version of albinism, so he's
plus he
doesn't
got the
burn. He doesn't burn.
Also,
he's a wood elf, so he's kind of used to.
And he doesn't have light sensitivity.
I'll be honest, Richard. Yeah. I thought that was a spoiler question, so that's why I avoided it. I was like, if there's something behind it, that's spoily. Like the reason why I'm answering questions about Garek is that I made
part of it is spoilers, but I could have answered without the spoiler part.
Yeah. So why is he like that then? Why is Elaran?
Why is Elaran being an Elaran?
So like I said, it's mainly for backstory purposes, but I wanted to I wanted to kind of give that feel of like, oh, this guy's just like kind of really old. Nope, actually, he's incredibly fucking young. Young. He just looks like that because he was born like that.
Okay, from Jacob. If Garek faced Janora and was given the choice to save her or have her turn to save her, have her turn, would he do it? Yes, because that's just who Garek is. He saved Thomas, for starters.
Save Thomas.
A guy who has been nothing but the most evil person they have ever met. But Garek saved him. Garek's resentment towards Janora is that she doesn't have to serve these a-holes, but she does. And Garek is weaker than her, but he still had the courage to go away from them. That's where Garek's resentment comes in. And how would you two react to it?
Honestly, it's a Garek thing. She would be like, okay.
Elaran
This is what he does.
Elaran probably wouldn't think the same way. He would kind of be at the start. He would kind of be like, Garek, what are you doing? I get this is your I get this is like your trainer and all, but she's, she made this decision willingly. Thomas, he kind of, it's a little bit different for Thomas because he didn't really have a choice in the matter, but she chose to stay with these guys. So he would kind of be that whole like, Garek, what the heck? Like, what are you thinking?
Like, what are you really thinking?
Honestly, Garek would be like, he has to save as many people. Like, he wants to help people and save them. He doesn't want to be his parents, and that is a fault because one day someone will stab him in the back in that regard. It will happen. I know it will happen. Like, that mentality has its flaws. But at the same time, he just can't abandon a person. Like, as much as sometimes he really wants to. It's the same reason why he didn't abandon Isabel, like, send her home just without any context. It's because he can't abandon people even if he wants to. Even if he fucking hates them, he has to try. There's only one person on this plane of existence who he would not try, and that is his mother. He would never try to save his mother because he knows that there is nothing there but pure evil. He wouldn't try too hard with his father, but he would try a little bit. He wouldn't expect anything from it, but he would try.
At least.
Yeah.
Since he is being manipulated by her.
Exactly. And that's the only reason why. That is the only person Garek would never save, and that is his mother. Or at least try to.
On morning potion.
Yeah. It will get him hurt. Like, it will get him hurt one of these days, and honestly, Janora he wouldn't trust Janora. Like, he would keep an eye on her, because, she is a high-ranking officer, and it could be a ruse, but unfortunately, his nature dictates he tries. Again, I don't like to play class stereotypes unless they're like fun stereotypes. He's a barbarian, but he is not a fighting.
He's not dumb.
He's also not dumb. That's the thing. Like, he has like two.
He's not dumb.
He's not dumb, and he also thinks things through, and killing isn't his first option.
Yeah, that's why I was like, what? A barbarian that's not retarded?
And then you suddenly get transported and you meet this gigantic-ass dragonborn barbarian who is literally killing everything in sight.
Well, let's be honest here. Considering what I have planned, that's the least of all of your guys' worries. I mean, maybe take the L's, because, But anyways, yeah. Assuming that's it, do any of you guys have any questions? Because I have one last one for you two.
Okay.
What did you think of Garek's decision to save Thomas?
Ooh. As
Elaran and Rasmira.
So...
Because, to give perspective, Garek literally died to save the man that was behind all of this. Even if he was a victim, he was still partly responsible. Garek gave his life to save an enemy. What do your characters think of that?
Real talk, Elaran did not really like that at first. Because he knows that while Thomas, yes, he was a victim, yes, he was also directly responsible. So, or one of the people directly responsible. So of course he was very against the idea at first, but he knew that he was not going to stop you from doing so, and he knows that he couldn't stop you from doing so if you even if he tried. So that's so while he did not like the idea, he knows that he didn't really have a say in the matter.
And what about Rasmira? What did she think about that?
As for Rasmira, she really didn't like it, and she kind of still feels that way right now. Mostly because she just feels like it should have gotten rid of the guy. History might repeat itself, and yada yada yada. And then maybe we're gonna have to do this again.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, she's just she just accepted the fact that okay, this is what he does. I can't really stop him. He tries to save everybody, even though they're trying to kill him. He tries to save him. It's like,
Yeah. Which
I swear to God, if he ever tries to save her, if she ever got corrupted, she's gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing, man? Just end me.
he saved Marks. You really think he
Just
wouldn't save
end
the
me,
woman?
man."
You really think he wouldn't try and save you of all people?
I mean, yeah, but that's how she thinks.
Yeah, but
Like, just end me, man.
I think that moment really was probably the most character-defining moment of Garek, because in that scene, I got across what Garek was about, like, more than anything else I've done. I showed him as a guy who will fight for everything he holds dear, but he'll still, when faced with the choice, he will risk his own neck to save someone else's, even if they aren't even if they're his enemy. If he has a choice, he will take it.
And I think that's rubbing off on Rasmira too.
For better or worse.
For better or for worse. No, yet.
Honestly,
Haven't seen her in action just yet.
yep. But anyways, what do you guys think of that decision? What do you think of all our characters? Do you have any questions you would like to ask us? Let us know in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube.
Or criticize on how bad our characters are. Come on, guys. You know our characters are shit.
Yeah.
Yep. And above all else, pish posh. Catch you guys
Pish
next time.
posh. Rest in peace, pish posh.
Yep. Catch you guys next time.